What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'll break down what's happening with the economic calendar for today, as we have Jerome Powell giving a speech later on. Not to mention some new news that came out from Tesla bears, as we're seeing some very big investors who are coming out and they're actually downgrading Tesla, saying some negative things about it. So I'm going to break down what they're saying about Tesla, why this is causing Tesla to drop just a bit, how the share price is looking in terms of technicals, and what you should be watching for going into today. Before I get the devil's information, before I give you guys a very quick technical update for the pre-market, let me just say that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit $500 into the account, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks. If you deposit $25,000 or more, you're guaranteed 75 free stocks, and this offer ends in just a couple of weeks. As you guys can see, Tesla's on a bit of a downtrend right over here, continuing to make lower highs and lower lows. And even though SPY is a little bit down with Tesla, you guys can see it's Tesla's following the same trend. It's also looking a little bit weaker than SPY and the QQQ and the others. So we're seeing some weakness on Tesla even during the pre-market right now. And we're barely at 164 a share, a little bit below our 165 target. Now, if we do continue to sink down, you're going to be looking for this 162 level being our key support. So there's still some weakness on Tesla stock, and I just want to give you guys a warning. Now, I just want to talk about some important data, how it's going to affect the markets before I break down the charts. So as you guys know, today is Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024. Later on today, we're going to be looking at Bowman, who's going to be giving a speech very soon at 9:45 a.m. And we also have the S&P Global Composite PMI and Services PMI coming out at 9:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 15 minutes after the market opens. To look for some volatility off this data. And then at 10 o'clock a.m., we have the next set of data coming out. This is when we have the ISM Services PMI, the employment, new orders and prices data coming out. New orders and prices being the most important parts because they are very forward-looking, and this could cause a lot more volatility. Now, this is also going to be very important for inflationary data, so make sure you watch for this. There's going to be a big move at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so watch for that volatility. And we'll see how this ends up affecting the markets. But make sure you're prepared for this. Make sure you're ready at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 30 minutes after the market opens. And then after that, at 12 o'clock p.m., this is a couple of hours into market open, we have Jerome Powell giving a speech at noon. We'll see what he ends up saying, but that's when we're going to see another big move. So those are the big things coming out for today. So watch for volatility for the first 30 minutes when all the data comes out, and then wait for Jerome Powell at noon. That is what's on the agenda for today. Now, right now, the market is opening up on a very low note. We saw the market dip a bit, but we'll have to see if the market bounces from here because we're seeing some technicals that show that. There's also some news coming out about how there's going to be a big shareholder vote for the company's board for Disney. That's making some headlines. A lot of talk about Tesla, the first year-over-year decline since 2020 for them, only about 386,000 deliveries in total, a drop of 8.5% from a year ago, and analysts were expecting like 450 to 420,000 depending on which ones you see. This is making a lot of headlines again. The news is still talking about this, so just be prepared for more noise about Tesla. There's been a lot of other things coming out about how the shares in the major U.S. health insurers fell sharply, and that's after some new news came out about payments for private Medicare plans that disappointed insurance industry and investors. That's making some headlines too. That's why we saw CVS Health drop a bit. Same thing with other companies out there. And crude prices hit their highest level since October on Tuesday and heightened the geopolitical risk as we're starting to see crude go up, not to mention gas prices. So that's actually happening again. So that's what we're seeing on headlines for the time being. The market is still greedy. We're getting closer to neutral, so we'll see if we continue to remain here. Jerome Powell is going to be a big factor when he speaks today. Is he going to cause us to go back to neutral or back to extreme greed? So Powell is going to be a big factor, and then for now we have some data. Now, when it comes to Tesla, I saw some new news that came out. There are some bears out there who are saying that Tesla could go all the way down to $14, which is absolutely insane. I do find that to be very ridiculous, a bit of an exaggeration. So people are saying that Tesla could go bust. The stock could fall to $14. That's what some very well-known fund manager is saying. That's per Lacander. That's a hedge funds manager, and they've been shorting Tesla since 2020. So I think shorting Tesla in 2020, even parts of 2021, wasn't always as strong. But I think there were parts of the years where, like 2021, even 2022, it could have worked out very well. So with the strategy to short Tesla, I mean, there has been some success in doing so, but at the same time, I mean, it could go either way depending on the timing and such. So I would say that I wouldn't necessarily give Candor more credibility based off that, but when it comes to his claim that Tesla could drop to $14, the reason why I think that's kind of ridiculous is because if Tesla falls to 150, what's going to happen? A lot of buyers will step in. If it falls to 125 or 100, buyers will come again and again defend it. Algos will defend it. So I don't see how it's going to go down to 14. But it is worth noting that that's his opinion. He's a huge bear, and he's saying that Tesla is a no growth stock, which should be valued way less. So his view is based off the PE ratio and things like that. I personally don't agree with that. I think that the market's very forward looking and Tesla's worth a lot more because of its potential and what it's actually working on. So negative voices are growing ever since we got this like really bad deliveries report. And I warned you guys about this yesterday. This is actually not the best of news for Tesla, part of why it's down. There's also news coming out about the Model 3. They're saying there's some questions being asked about if this is like ludicrous or not. This is what it looks like. To me, it looks pretty cool. I actually like the color. It has very, very nice specs. And if anything, with the capabilities of it, I think that it's actually a great vehicle. I wouldn't necessarily call it anything else like that. So that's my view for now. But now let's break down these charts. How are things looking for Tesla and the others? So I just want to note that right now Tesla is looking a bit more bearish, but I do see potential for the market to try to rebound a bit. So we'll have to see where Tesla tries to base at. Watch and see how low it goes. We're trying to hold 164. If we do lose this, it could come down to about 162. But watch and see if we get a reaccumulation. If we lose 162, we turn bearish. We could start sinking down to 160, and that's going to be a critical support. Losing that would turn even more bearish. For resistance, watch 165. If we break this, watch 167.8 and eventually 170. In my opinion, Tesla could dip a little bit, but I think that over time it's going to start getting bought back up. As long as we don't have new major horrible news. And the reason I say it could get bought back up is because SPY is looking like it's trying to rebound here. The reason I say that is because SPY has this low, made a high right here, came back down. We might see SPY kind of stay within this range between 516 and 518 for some time. And slowly, I do see it actually trying to push up higher. We could see a move back up to about 520 or so, if not 521. That's where we have this previous support becoming resistance, and even higher levels depending on Jerome Powell. But I do see SPY kind of trading sideways for a bit and then eventually trying to push up higher. So watch those resistance levels I called out. On the QQQ, it's the same thing where we came down a bit and we saw this liquidity grab. Now we're trying to see buyers stepping in. If we could try to get back above 440, then we can start pushing for 442. I see some potential for this to attempt to do so. You guys can see how it's trying to change its trend. Then for Aapl, we called out how it might test the trend line. It is testing the trend line, so we'll have to see if we break through this to get back to 170, or if we reject or not to come back down to 168. But I am seeing some big resistance right here, so watch and see how it reacts to 169. For Nvda, it's the same thing basically. As you guys can see, Nvda has been on a bit of a downtrend, but we're starting to see some signs that it had this low right here from yesterday. It made a higher low during the pre-market. It is stuck at 885, but we'll have to see if it can get back up to 892. If it breaks 892, watch for 900, and if it loses 885, watch 877. Could come down a bit and then try to reaccumulate, but we'll see. Even if Nvidia does bounce a bit, we do have this big head and shoulder, so just be a little bit careful. Even if Powell causes a bounce for it, it's still on a bearish trend. So what does all this tell us about Tesla? Basically, Tesla's on a downtrend. It's looking kind of weak right now. It is slowing down a bit, but I am seeing some potential in it because if the market does rebound a bit, this could actually help Tesla to some extent. So it might dip a little bit more. It's looking kind of weak for now, but there could be an accumulation coming right over here in this 162 to 164 area. And then we might see some buyers try to defend it. If we lose 162 to 160, I would turn a lot more bearish. But as long as we hold above it, I still think that there's potential for Tesla to try to drop a little bit, then to try to rebound later. And I think that that's what's going to likely happen. It's not going to be a big bounce like crazy. It might just be a little rebound. So watch for the reaction after all this data comes out for the first 30 minutes. And let's see what Jerome Powell has to say. That's going to affect Tesla. My guts tells me it's going to drop a little bit more, maybe try to hold this support right over here, as long as there's no new bad news. And then we might see buyers try to defend it, and it might just remain in this range between 62 and 168, so come down a bit and start getting reaccumulated, then we might see an attempt for it to just try to get back up here and shuffle up above, and then we'll see what Jerome Powell and the others cause for the stock. But that's kind of like what my general view is for Tesla for now. Watch it dip just a bit to support, reaccumulate, and then trade back in this upper range for some time, and then look for what the big reaction is by the time Jerome Powell starts speaking. We'll see if he causes a bounce or not in the markets. So get ready for Powell around noon, and then don't forget about the data at 10 o'clock a.m., 30 minutes after the market opens. All right, guys, that's it for your quick update. I'll see you guys very soon in about an hour and a half from now. Thank you again, and peace out.